The mechanic who walked away. Jack Turner wiped the grease off his hands and sighed, staring at the open hood of a rusted pickup truck. It was his last job of the day, his last job ever, actually. After 10 years of loyal service at Carter's auto shop, he had finally quit. He hadn't done it in anger. He wasn't the kind of man to make a scene. But the years of fixing cars without a single thank you, of being talked down to by customers who didn't understand the work he did, of watching younger, less experienced mechanics get promotions just because they were louder and pushier, it had worn him down. So 2 weeks ago, he had handed in his notice, packed his toolbox, and walked out the door. No farewell party. No handshake from Mr. Carter. Just a brief, "all right, good luck," before the next customer rolled in. Jack wasn't bitter, but he was tired. Tired of giving his best to people who barely noticed. For 2 weeks, he stayed home, tinkering in his garage, fixing up an old motorcycle he had never had time for. Bills were creeping up, but he told himself he'd figure it out. Maybe start his own thing, if he could scrape together the money. Then, one evening, just as the sun dipped below the horizon, a deep, purring engine pulled up outside his modest house. Jack peered through the window. A sleek, black Rolls-Royce idled at the curb, its polished exterior gleaming under the streetlights. His first thought, they must be lost. Then the driver stepped out, a tall man in a crisp suit. Jack recognized him immediately. Mr. Donovan. Years ago, before Jack had even considered quitting, an older gentleman had pulled into Carter's auto shop in a battered old sedan. He had been soft-spoken, kind, and clearly struggling. He needed his car fixed, but the repair was expensive. Mr. Carter had scoffed and told him, "Come back when you can afford it." Jack had seen the desperation in the man's eyes. Without a word, he had stayed late that night, fixing the car for free. He had even left a note on the dashboard, "Everyone deserves a break." The man had thanked him profusely, but Jack had brushed it off, thinking he'd never see him again. And yet, here he was. In a Rolls-Royce. Jack stepped outside cautiously. "Mr. Donovan?" The man grinned. "You remember me?" Jack nodded, still bewildered. "I've been looking for you," Donovan continued. "I went back to the shop, but they said you left." He hesitated, then said, "That night you fixed my car, I was at my lowest. I had lost my job. My wife was sick. I had nothing left. But because of you, I got to that job interview. I got hired. And that job changed everything." Jack blinked. "I promised myself," Donovan continued, "if I ever made something of myself, I'd find you." He reached into his pocket and pulled out an envelope. "I want to help you start your own garage. You deserve more than a thank you." Jack took the envelope with trembling hands. Inside was a check, a figure so large it made his breath hitch. He looked up, his throat tight. "I don't know what to say." "Say you'll do it," Donovan said. "Say you'll believe in yourself the way you believed in me." Jack did. And 2 months later, Turner's Auto Care opened its doors, a place where customers were treated with respect, where hard work was valued, and where no one was ever underappreciated again. Because sometimes, kindness doesn't just fix cars. It changes lives.